Secrets Unveiled, the Intrigues of Espionage, Art Theft, Taxation, and the Hidden World Beyond. Well, friends, an interesting topic, but sounds more like a tongue twister, as if somebody is challenging you, repeat it fast 3 times and you won't be able to. Or rather, it sounds like a question in a UPSC exam. Or if you look at the topic, it's more in place, probably at a film festival in the thriller section. So here we have our 2 eminent writers, and the books that they have written, the genre has been combined together to form this one topic. So Mr. Ajay Moankotia is about taxation, and Mr. Tarun Mehrishi is about espionage and art theft. And what we've done is combined all of it together, and together they shall speak to us. They'll unveil the secrets and take us to the journey which is hidden beyond. To begin with, first, I think it's good that we have a free-flowing conversation whereby we take it informally forward. And with your permission, sir, the audience here, in case you want to, intervene, any of them, I have taken their permission. Give a comment, ask a question, make it more interactive. I think that's all welcome as long as that thought process is not being disturbed. Now, so to begin with, sir, I think we'll begin with Mr. Ajay Moankotia. Your opening remarks as to what made you write this book and what is it all about. And the name of the book is there's 7 for you, 3 for me, Chronicles of a Taxman. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure to be here. So the word intrigue that has been used in the title is not correct. You can't use intrigue in income tax proceedings. You may say intriguing, but not intrigue. So what's intriguing about it is, can be twofold. The work that the income tax officer does, the challenges that he faces could at times be intriguing. But what is more important is that the perception that the common man has of the income tax department, of the income tax man, is intriguing. And I'll give you the reason for that. Thinking that very little is known about the taxman, what he does, what are the challenges he faces, what are the day-to-day activities he does. Compounded, in addition to that, is the fact that the press is normally always negative about the department. You'll hear about excesses committed during raids. You'll hear about coercion adopted to recover taxes. You'll hear about high-pitched assessments made to create taxes and then recover them. Very little is published about the positive things that the department is doing. And believe me, there are many, many positive things that the department has been doing for many, many decades now, more so in the last few years, which we'll come to during the course of the discussion. And the last reason is that most people do not like paying taxes. So it's a very thankless job. Somebody has to do it. And the taxman does it to the best of his ability. There are certain aberrations here and there, which happens in every field. But by and large, they are all a professional outfit doing a very, very demanding, thankless job to the best of their ability. So I wrote a book called There's 7 for You, 3 for Me, Chronicles of a Taxman. It's not a book on tax, it's a book on what the taxman does. And the trigger for this is very simple. I was undergoing a medical procedure some years back, and the doctor told me that he'll be giving me an anesthetic shot and it will pinch me a little. He gave it to me and then it pained. So he asked me, everything alright? Did it pain you? I said, of course it did. So he says, now you know, Mr. Moankotia, what we feel like when we go to the tax department. So that set me thinking. I said, yeah, this is a senior doctor who has had no issues with the tax department. Everything has been very, very good so far in his bookkeeping and his interaction with the tax department, but he also has this perception that it's a painful experience going to the tax department. So that was a trigger that set me thinking, and I then wrote a book which puts the spotlight on what the taxman does, remove him from the shadows, remove the cobwebs of misunderstanding and ignorance that people have about him, and bring him to the center stage and let people know what he does. So I've used my own experiences, my own my own work in the department for 26 years to highlight the various things he does, the challenges he faces. And the style is very racy, is irrelevant at times because the subject is serious. So I try to make it accessible to the public by keeping the style racy and humorous and irrelevant at times.
Okay. Before I go to Tarun, just a short question to you. You said it's not about taxation, but about the life of a taxman. Then how does that title come? There's 7 from you.
So the title, like I said, is there's 7 for you, 3 for me. Can anybody hazard a guess here as to where the title comes from? You heard of Beatles? You heard Beatles? There's a song called The Taxman by George Harrison, in which he says, there's 1 for you, 19 for me. Which means that out of 20 rupees that you earn, 1 rupee will go to the taxpayer and 19 will be given to the tax department. Now he wrote this song in the 60s when the tax rates in England were very, very high. It was a socialistic era. The tax rates in India are now very reasonable.
Yeah.
So out of 10 that you earn, 7 goes to you and 3 the department.
You forgot the surcharges.
We can't be perfect all the time.
Pardon? Any comment on the tax rates? Like he gave a statement. Period. Tax rates are very
They are all
reasonable.
happy. They are compliant.
None of them said yes.
Some of them go also.
Sir, I would like to comment on that. Nobody is going to tell you to be unhappy, especially to an ex-tax person sitting in the plan.
We come to this aspect also a little later as to why you should not fear the taxman. Treat him as equal. He is also doing a very, very valuable service to you, like you are to him. It's a service of equals. He is providing a service. You are the customer. You are a valid customer. There's no need to fear him or hold him in awe or in contempt. You pay your taxes rightly, correctly. There's nothing to fear.
Okay. You look at the taxman as a person doing his job.
Yes.
Tarun.
Thank you. Good afternoon, of course. My story is very different. I don't have 26 years of experience in the bank inside one department. I'm an accidental author in a sense. I've had the kira, as we say, where I come from for a long, long time to try and write a book. It would probably never have happened given my job in sports marketing in law, which just never left the time to try and do anything creative. But for the perils of COVID and the 2 months or 3 months that completely freed up. Right? So the Prime Minister saying on television that 21 days is all it will take for us to be at home and everything will be okay was the 21 days I got when sports completely died. It literally died overnight, and that was my opportunity to try and write something. As it happens, in that time, got a lot of the book knocked off, and that just kept the motivation going to try and finish it. So my book has nothing to do with law, it has nothing to do with sports. It's the genre I love reading, which is espionage, spy, thriller, and that's the genre I've eventually written in. And my argument to my parents and how I was a fool to write outside my criteria was to simply say that ultimately you're a product of whatever your experiences are. And a large part, I think, of our experiences are what we've read as children. This is my genre, this is hopefully what I will continue to write in as well. And maybe we can speak about the book a little bit later, but the genesis of the book lies in COVID.
Interesting, Tarun. Tell me, is it your fiction or does it have the impressions or imprints of certain experiences that you have?
So it is largely fiction. And I always disclaim it with that it is not a work of history, though it is a work of historical fiction. So we do take a lot of characters from history. We've got Kashmir, we've got partition, of course, the Raja of Kashmir at that point of time, the birth of Bangladesh, Osama bin Laden, a bunch of other stuff that goes on in this novel. But it's all aged to a larger fictional line. It is inspired by the theft of 2 paintings from India, and this was an article that appeared in either the Times of India or the Sun Times many years ago about how these two paintings had disappeared without the Indian government's knowledge till Sotheby's from London called them and told them that, by the way, these two paintings are now appeared for sale in front of us in London. That had launched an entire investigation, which in itself was a fun story, but ultimately led to a legal dispute in the UK, which we ended up winning and recovering our paintings on. But what it did throw up was an interesting connection to Bollywood in the 40s and 50s, and how a producer's family had actually migrated to Pakistan. And because of their knowledge about India from their parents and grandparents, they actually sort of created an art smuggling ring which masqueraded as restaurants in London, but smuggled art out of India and used those proceeds to actually hurt Indian interests all over the world.
Okay, so as far as the valuation is concerned, you valued them at rupees 400 crores. Was it Sotheby's or?
The valuation is fictional, but 400 crores is not as much as it sounds for paintings that are world-class masterpieces. Paintings are sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. There are paintings like Mona Lisa which have no real value ascribed to them, and they are priceless. Rorik himself is a legend. He's definitely an Indian legend without a shadow of doubt. And it's hard to say whether those paintings would be priced at 400 crores below that, because they were actually in the store. So before the auction could happen, they were returned.
Okay, thank you. Any comments about this, wonderful fictional book that is, has anybody read that book? Okay. No, I think he's spoken about it, and I'll come to you, sir. Tell me, while you were writing this book, basically underlying the life of a taxman, you even have in your book, where do people and how do they write their money? How does the department go about doing its job? Who did you write this book for? What did you think at the time that you were writing as to who was your target readers?
The target reader is all the people sitting here. The thing is that my aim was also to remove the misconceptions that people have. Now, for example, one major misconception people have is that you can grade anyone on a whim. कि शक्ल पसंद नहीं आई तो रेट कर दो, या उसने ऐसे कहा वैसा तो रेट कर दो. Absolutely erroneous assumption people have. Rates are very serious business. They are a violation of your privacy. They taken very seriously, full responsibility. You may base a rate on a complaint received, but the person concerned, the investigation person, has to himself verify everything contained in the complaint. He has to go out of the office. He has to do a recce. He has to see every office, every go down, every branch office, verify for himself whether the information is correct or not, and then set out what's called a satisfaction note. That I have verified the complaint, I have gone outside and seen it for myself. This are there, not be declared by him in the return, and therefore it's a fit case for a search. Searches happen very rarely, they're not your daily occurrence. And then it has to be approved by the food chain, right up to the top. Once they're satisfied that everything has been done correctly, everything has been investigated correctly, then the permission is given to raid. So, saying that, on a whim, we are not going to be raided is absolutely wrong. That's one. Secondly, please, I was in the raid department for many years. It's a very unpleasant task for us to, ring the morning bell. When the milkman is still about and the newspaper is not being delivered and people are waking up at that time and, the tea being made in the kitchen and children are getting ready to go to office, to school. It's that time even the most hardened tax raider gets impacted. That's at the 7 o'clock bell. It's a very tough task for us. It's a very unpleasant task for us, but we go about it in a very professional manner. We know what he's going through. But it's a task somebody has to do. And we do it in a very professional manner, no harassment, no coercion. Do it as per law. Children are allowed to go to school. If there's any medical emergency, doctors are called. We call 2 witnesses from the neighborhood to witness the tax search, who put the signatures to the statements that are recorded or to the assets that are found. books that are found. So everything is done as per law, as per convention, as per regulations, and in a very professional manner. So again, people have this impression that rates may be excessive. But
are we to understand that the book is a result of the 26 or 28 years of not exactly being the most popular person in town, and it's an explanation?
It's a book which mentions everything that the tax person does, goes through, the challenges he faces, the department that he works in, whether it's sports activities in the department or cultural activities in the government, or the election duty that he sent on, the policy making that he does, the assessments that he does, the appeals that he does, the administration work that he does. All those things are done based on my experiences and based on actual anecdotes which highlight all these various things that he does in a very accessible style. So people know that he's a person who's not to be feared or not to be, held in contempt. He's like you and me. He also likes to, do his crossword puzzles or take his children for ice cream in the evening or have his drink in the evening. He's also no different from us.
So, after you've written your book, has anyone from your department ever approached you and told you, you've given our mindset away by writing this book, you have not done such a work?
No, this is not a mindset. This is telling the people at large that this is what you must know. You don't know anything about this person. Now read the book and get to know what he is and what he does.
And does the book have anything, from people who want to avoid taxes? How to go about it?
No, then they come to the wrong person.
Okay. So the book doesn't go into
I feel like the rest of most of the people, the tax rates are very, very reasonable, and there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't pay your taxes correctly, rightly, fully, and do not depend blindly on your consultant. Please also invest your time and effort in what your books say, what your business activities are, and don't take everything he says for granted. Because many times people are led up the garden path by wrong advice. So you must be fully in control of your affairs, see whether the advice you're getting is correct or not. And these evasions and these plannings ultimately are not worth it. You lose the night's sleep, and then you lose a lot of money and effort in litigation.
Okay. Does it lead to the fact that even if you are an innovator, however intelligent you are, you'll be caught up in the web one day or the other?
Absolutely. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that one day the chickens will come home to roost.
But does the book touch on that?
It does.
It does.
Absolutely does.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. And Tarun, now, the fiction that you've written and the way you've weaved it around, you've even connected it to the partition, so how are there any facts which have led to this particular storyline of yours?
So the two broad facts that we have dealt with are the theft of these two paintings,
Yeah.
and the fact that the producer's family had migrated to Pakistan and set up a art smuggling ring. And that's the two broad facts that we were aware of. But it's also
These are the facts.
These are two of the three facts that are the facts. It's also true that Nicholas's son, Shabbir, was married to Devika Rani, who was a very, very famous actress in her time. Now I'm not out of her, but she was a German legend, bigger than any other actress since. She was also a producer, she was a doyen of Indian cinema, which was a big deal in the 40s. And her marriage to Shabbir was actually the second marriage, so it made all the kind of noise you would expect in the media in those days. But around those three core facts, we've woven the rest of our fictional narrative. The rest of the book is absolutely fictional. I'd like to argue that for those that don't get a chance to read it, it's hard to segregate fact and fiction. Could it be true? Yes. Do I know for a fact that a lot of the other stuff is true? I do not. But I do believe that some of it might actually end up being true.
Okay. So your imagination, you've talked about its connection to an impending nuclear strike, as far back as that time. So again, is there any reality to that, a terror strike or?
So the nuclear strike we refer to is now, that's in contemporary times. But the paintings have been created, of course, in history. So the value has increased over the last 60 or 70 years. But the sad reality, the reality of life today is that a lot of our art has been weaponized against us. Okay. UNESCO, for example, estimates that more than 50,000 pieces are actually disappeared from India. This is maps, these are manuscripts, these are idols, these are sculptures. These are things that are worth 100 crores of pop, maybe more at times. And this is all money that's being used for a bunch of nefarious activities. It could be arms trading, it could be prostitution. And a lot of it is now being directed back against us to try and fund terror against India as well. So there is a genuine problem in the fact that our own history, our own antiquity is being weaponized against us. A lot is now being done to try and put a stop to that. But over the last 4 or 5 decades, a lot of damage has been done, perhaps irreparably.
So tell me, while your story is very intriguing about your writing a book, when you are not actually connected to writing, working in the sports marketing of a company. So was it what was that Kida always there with you? That the moment you have time for yourself, you would write a book or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Kida has always been there to try and write something. It's never been a serious pursuit. We've always written, you get forced to write in school. I've volunteered to write the company website, company newsletters, whatever. It just keeps scratching that itch. But the number of people that have told me since I have managed to get a book published, that they want to write a book is very not easy to believe that actually most people do want to write. And that they do have a story they want to tell. And often it's just a question of believing that you can tell that story. That's really holding people back. I had nothing to do with the writing industry at all. I have no background in this. It's just a question of me believing that I can put a story together that might be worth it. And of course, like anything else, there is luck, there is network, all of that gets involved as well. But that's really how it went. There was a switch, and it's to scratch, it got scratched, and
How do you get a publisher on board?
So luckily, which is a bachelor of mine from college, was married to a literary agent. So she was kind enough, 10 years into our relationship, to actually read the manuscript. Yeah, but it came to one publisher who was happy to pick it up. Otherwise, this would have died at that point in time itself.
Okay, so now, God forbid, there is another pandemic. What is the next Kida?
No, at the moment, the current Kida is writing. There is no other Kida except trying to fund the writing by doing my business, trying to make some money off that. I do think on a broader level that this entire space of thrillers and espionage and spies has been conceded by us entirely to Western authors. And the our intelligence agencies do so much work around the world now, given our growing interest, given our growing economic mind, that there are hundreds and thousands of stories that we can create out of here, which we can actually take to the world. Of course, these are stories we want to listen to within India, but these are stories that we can actually take to at least the world. I don't think they're inferior to the Mossad or the CIA or any other organization. We perhaps just have an interest at the moment. But it's a matter of time. We will be the best agencies across the world and we will be protecting our interests wherever we are.
So you've actually you've shown the Indian intelligence agencies, win over CIA and ISI and come out on top. You actually believe in that?
Yeah, I don't think there's never a black or white, right? Especially in the intelligence world, I'm sure it's never like that. My interactions with a bunch of intelligence officials suggest that it's actually not like that. And you could define the same series of events as a victory or a loss depending on who's writing that particular assessment. Will we win everything? Absolutely not. Will we lose everything? Absolutely not. My second book that I'm going to write now, the RAW will partly lose the battle that it's fighting again against the CIA. It will partly win, partly lose. Maybe I want to write one where we do entirely lose and Toki Bhai Jati, as we say in Delhi. That is absolutely a possibility as well. But I've been told some incredible stories about the things that we have achieved, which I don't think anybody in this country outside the powers that be, the Mehrishi, etc.
So actually now talking about your second book, spying espionage is actually a genre which you would like to continue with.
Absolutely. It's a genre I enjoy reading, it's a genre I really enjoy writing, and that's a nice combination of two things to try and bring together to actually put together something that people might want to read. I think force fitting it elsewhere is unlikely to work. I don't think I can ever author something of such
Ajay. Right. Right. Now we'll come to you, Ajay sir. Tell me, in the book you've obviously it is through your experience that you've even talked about different ways people hide their cash and put it around. So you would like to tell our audience
Well,
about
I'll tell you two instances. One very peculiar thing which happens in India, I'm sure you must have also been exposed to it sometime or known about it. There's a concept of the husband handing over monthly money to the wife for running of the house. And every wife in India, out of that money, saves some money called the pin money and hides it in her almirah or the kitchen or some other place for a rainy day. All very well intentioned. Every month she saves money which the husband has given her. And the husband doesn't know about it because she doesn't want anybody to know. She keeps it. Maybe she wants to buy jewelry after a few years, maybe she wants to use it for some other family purpose. But it's all well intentioned. And now we go on a raid and we open the almirahs, we go through the kitchen, we go through the drawers, and suddenly the monies that she saved so assiduously, so with such good intentions over the years, comes tumbling out. And her husband is not aware of it. Her husband has already given a statement earlier that there's nothing in my house, there's no cash in the house, or there's so much cash. He's not aware of this money that she's kept. So it leads to a very, very embarrassing moment for us because the husband, he scolds the wife, he sometimes gets physical with her. He can't believe that this is what's happened, and he's given a statement which was not factually correct because he didn't know about it. So this has led to many such domestic tiffs in our presence which we have to, handle and but we know what's going to happen after we leave also. And this especially came out during the demonetization, when all the monies that you had became invalid and you had to go to the bank to deposit them. That's the time when the husband or you got to know. So it was called financial infidelity, as opposed to your romantic infidelity. So this thing came to the fore that time during demonetization.
how do you handle it? Tell me, just in case it happens in front of you.
No, we try to explain to the husband, this is all well intentioned. This is for your good only. She should not, throwing them away, not giving it to her relatives. This is all for your children and for your sakes only. And please try and understand the intentions before you start doing all these things. Of course, beyond a point, you can't do it. That's a problem. But we try and soothe the nerves there and tempers there. That's one. Second, I'll tell you about a raid we did in, which is again symptomatic of the kind of problems that as officers we face. We did a raid in the heartland of North India, local politician, and he couldn't believe when we rang the bell that he would be raided. Because they all think that they are above law and they're entitled to them. So anyway, it took a while for him to actually realize that they are serious and we plan to go ahead with it. And then like I told you, we called two witnesses. So one witness we called was the local school principal and teacher. Now, who better witnesses than such respectable people? Anyway, the raid started. This was in the outskirts of the town. And about 2 hours later, we heard a huge sound emerging from the distance. Which is becoming more and more pronounced and more loud as it approached the house. And then we saw them from the first floor window. Income tax, high, income tax, Mudabad, income tax, all those kind of things. And then to our horror, we saw about 500 school children of the same school from where the principal and the police had come, with hockey sticks and with bicycle chains, with rods. We had 50 police people with us. The moment the gate crashed and they all came inside the house, all of them fled. The police people. Some team members also, they also got scared, they also fled. But many of us stayed back. And just imagine the mob there and this enraged politician, inciting the mob even further. देखिए ये लोग आए रेड करने आपके politician को और इनके साथ क्या किया जाए. So we told him, listen, this is very, very counterproductive if you stop it right now. He says, doesn't matter, this is and of course, like all of you do, this is a move by political opponents to, destroy me, malign me, and of course, a lot of things have been found in the house. So anyway, so raid had to be called off, and but we managed to see a lot of things, and the CRPF had to come in their trucks to salvage the situation. And thankfully, nothing happened to us because there was a lady officer with us, and the crowd didn't know how to react to a lady officer standing right in the middle, refusing to run away. So the crowd also was unsure what to do, and thankfully the CRPF came in time and we were saved. So these are again kind of things that some of us go through, and it's very difficult to write about it, but when you go through it, then that's the time you realize that it could have been just a second here and there.
Finally, as you said, you are also human beings. But tell me, has the book covered those areas when you as a taxman, actually raid a house? It's a search operation. Searching, and you find that. How do you go?
Yes. So, but that doesn't happen normally. What happens is that earlier, of course, there is a change now. Earlier, the searches used to be based on information received from anybody, from a ex-partner, from a ex-wife, from an ex-employee who knew the ins and outs of the business, and they were strange, and therefore they came and gave us the information. And information, like I said, had to be thoroughly examined and verified before we could do the search. So in those kind of cases, normally there used to be no case of nothing to be found there. But sometimes things have happened certainly where you go there and nothing is found, and then you have to move against the person who's given you the wrong information. You can easily prosecute it. And just incidentally, the person who gives you the information his name is kept totally confidential. But if it is wrong information, he has to sign an undertaking also that then he can be proceeded against. But it happens very rarely. But what happens is that sometimes the people concerned who are raided, in order to buy peace, that's a very, very favorite expression used by SSCs, to buy peace, they surrender or they admit that they have concealed so much money, thinking that that will be the end of the matter. And what happens then later when they're advised by their consultants that आपने बहुत ज़्यादा कर दिया, concealed कर दिया, और आपने ये भी किया ठीक, वो नहीं किया, ये भी था, वो भी है. So they sometimes, when they file the return, they withdraw their admission.
No, my question was, is that if you find nothing, you actually want to say that the taxpayer are gracious enough to accept that there was nothing and then just return.
Absolutely. Nobody box figures. You can't do that. You sincerely apologize to the tax person that this is what's happened. Unfortunately, in India the laws are such that he can't prosecute also the department. Though in theory he could, but it doesn't happen in real life.
Has it ever happened?
No. Like I said, it's a very rare instance where nothing is found. Something it may not be as much as we expected, but it may be much, much more than what we expected. You go thinking that there's money in the cupboards, and you find that you go to the kitchen and there are canisters with cash. We raided a very, very well-known Jatwala in Delhi. Huge amounts of cash found in the canisters. We never expected that kind of thing to happen. But the reverse also happens. You find cash, you seal it in the house to be resumed the next day. And so it happened with us. We came back, we opened the almirah had our signatures, it had signatures of the witnesses. When the almirah was opened, nothing was found inside. Now, how do you think that happened? Anybody here? A steel almirah with cash and valuables and books of accounts. We can't do the search that day, we come the next day, we seal it. The witnesses also.
The bottom of
the back portion of the almirah was removed, everything removed and then welded back. So, many instances when the assessees, the taxpayers are also very
So now this becomes a
ingenious in
criminal
doing
law.
that.
This becomes a criminal law.
Yeah, well, it become obviously it was possible. So these are kind of situations that you face in your tax life.
Have you ever come back home boasting about?
No, there's never a post. There's no arrogance. There's no post at all. It's just another work you done to the best of your ability. If you've, it's not necessary that in every case you find some concealment. No, not at all. There are many cases where you do. Everything is accounted for. Everything has been correctly declared. We just accept.
Okay.
That is also satisfaction.
Have you ever come back home feeling sad about the person you played?
Well, sad is a very strong term, but upset and upset at what happened during that time. How things would have been different if they had been advised differently. Maybe the affairs of the businessman could have been better handled by him taking more interest in his business. So it's like I said, it's a very thankless task. It's not a pleasurable task. So you come back and you say, hey, the wife don't understand, and she said, have a drink.
Okay, now Tarun, you've done law. Do your books have any legal angle while you go through the espionage and things like that?
So actually book for the time being, not books yet.
Okay.
This book, no. The actual story, like I said, was about a complicated legal case that was fought in the UK. We spent a lot of money fighting that case, but we did win, which is good news. I actually found the law really boring, right? And I think outside Risham, I don't know, maybe a little bit of couple of others, but nobody's really made law very interesting to me. Maybe at some point when I have the skill set, the experience to do it, I will try and do it to make it a lot more interesting to read. But at the moment, I'm going to stick to fiction. Something that you don't have to really treat particularly seriously or honestly, and let your imagination fly as widely as it does.
Okay, what is the sequel to the portrait of a secret?
So there's no sequel. This is a one-off story that's finished. I might borrow some characters from the story and put them into the second one. But the second one is about, seems to be my favorite topic, about trying to get certain nuclear secrets out of Pakistan, which of course we are keen to have as opposed to them. We'll probably drag in Mr. Abdul Qadir Khan into the story as well.
Okay, great. Nothing more than that you're ready to talk about right now?
Not yet. Not yet. And I'm also not entirely sure what that story is going to look like when it's fully fleshed out.
Okay. Now, any comments or questions from
So, have you received any light threat after any kind of raid?
Oh yes, of course. That's a part of what we do, and it happens. And then what happens is that we assess the situation, and then sometimes security is provided, and then we are taken care of. But in all the raids, we take the police with us, who are normally very competent and efficient in making sure that nothing happens. But in certain cases where they feel that they're overwhelmed by the large number, you've seen the film Raid, same thing happened there. So they are what we do. I mean, 50 against 500, even they were armed, nothing was done. It happened in Assam also. Election time 83, so many instances where the police had to vacate the polling booths because of the huge crowds that came.
anyone else? Yes, Jago?
Which was the most interesting case you had, sir, in your raids, which you would like to share with us, whereby you won or lost, whatever, but which was the most interesting period in your working life which you could share with us, sir?
Well, I think the most interesting period of my career, of course, every phase has its interesting features and the assessments. So I've been in assessments also, in appeals also, in administration also, in raids also. I was also Chief Vigilance Officer, deputed by my department to fertilizer company. So I looked after vigilance also for 5 years. And I've also been trained abroad. I've also gone on election duties. The income tax people are sent as election expenditure observers. You observe the expenditure incurred by the candidates and make sure it doesn't exceed the limit. So it's again a very important, responsible job to make sure that the monies that are spent are as per the laws.
Sir, in this expenditure thing with the political people, what I have observed and what I have read, they're always exceeding their government budget, whatever the budgets they are giving.
Yeah, so when they exceeded, then they are proceeded against, and sometimes even their election is cancelled. It happens. So, but they take it very seriously. You may say that the ceilings are very low. They're not realistic. You spend crores in elections, and 15 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 50 lakhs is not enough. So that's absolutely correct. You're right. But one aspect of department before I like to close is that I write also on music. So I was a member of a music group and we used to meet every month in people's houses to sing and do. So I went to this particular house and this lady was the hostess and married to a businessman. And then when she learned that I was from the tax department, she actually started having a fainting fit. She said, I work in a tax department officer come to my house and she had been told that I'm retired and then she became normal. And then she asked me very weird question, very bizarre question. Then how can an enterprise officer sing? So, because the impression is that they are all so serious, they know nothing except to harass the poor taxpayer, shadowy figure. Then I told her, I said, listen, in our department, we have people who are excellent writers, poets, painters, singers, athletes. I've written a full chapter on that how our department has produced such outstanding talent in extracurricular activities. So that's also an area which most people don't know about. Look at person is a good painter also. He's talk about painting. There are people who have done excellent painting in the department. People who have got the highest awards in writing. And of course singing, there's so many of them. So tomorrow is my session on Bollywood music, which I've written in my second book. Please come on that and we'll talk about music then.
His second book is a book by the name of Bollywood Odyssey. And I thought to make people sing to your tunes.
One last question from me, sir. What is your opinion about the present political situation vis-a-vis money spent in this future incoming elections, forthcoming elections?
So you're asking a very loaded question. What happens is, as a government officer and as an ex-government officer, there are certain things I can say and certain things I can't.
Oh, I get it, sir.
He said it already. Yeah. Now any closing remarks before we wind up? Yeah.
Nothing but really serious to me. Just thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to me, for listening to us. The book I think is available downstairs for those that do want to experiment with fiction from an Indian author. Hopefully you guys get to read it, enjoy it. Look forward to feedback if there's any as we write the second one. Thank you so much.
Like I said, pay your taxes fully, correctly. Do not fear the taxman. He's not going to harass you at all if you pay your taxes correctly. He is a service provider. Gone are the days when it was a government department working in a typical government fashion. Now it's a service provider. It's a service industry. You are the valuable customer. You are the center of his universe. Don't forget that. I mean, if there's no you, there's no tax department.
Sir, now there is no fear because everything is online. Whatever
Which is a very good thing. It's a very positive development. Absolutely.
He said two things. One is pay your taxes intelligently, and second, don't fear the taxman. Believe the first part. Okay, it was wonderful. I think speaking to the two of you, Ajay and Tarun. I think the topics that we had, which we merged together, I would say it is a sort of a marriage between fiction and reality, and the two of you gave us an interesting time.
But where is fiction, there is realities.
That I'll leave to our audience. And,